Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Election Prediction Institute. Today is October 14th, 2024, and today I will be releasing my first United States governor's prediction. I'm so excited because nobody, of course, needs a majority in this. They're all different races for different states, but governor races tend to be really, really interesting, and they're all very individual, and they're also you'll see crazy blue or red states having governors that you wouldn't expect because governor races are much less partisan and much more about the state itself. So let's get right into it. I first categorize that safe states are states that are for either party 10 points or more. Likely is 5 to 10. Lean is 2 to 5. And a margin of victory of anything under 2 points is tilt. With that being clarified, let's get right into this. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the safe states for the Democrats, which there is only one. It's Delaware. And, I think Delaware is pretty interesting. Here's why. Is because it's a state that Biden won by 19 and Matt Myers the nominee. It was a close primary relatively. 86,000 votes in the Democrats, much less in the Republicans. He's a no-namer. He's polling well. Matt Meyer against Mike Ramone. And, it's a deep blue state. You should have no problem holding that. For Republicans, they have multiple safe races. Vermont, just because Phil Scott's extremely popular. He's, even in some polls, the most popular governor, even though it's the bluest state in America. In West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey will have an easy time defeating his Democratic opponent, as well as Jim Banks will easily defeat, not Jim Banks, Mike Braun. As you can see here, he will easily defeat his Democratic opponent, Jennifer McCormick, and his Libertarian opponent, Ronald Rainwater. ActiVote has it within 8. They can't be trusted. They're a smartphone app. This one was commissioned by Indie Politics. Has a lot of undecideds that are likely break for Braun. And look, these are less recent polls. But Indiana's a state that Trump won by 16 points. It's very likely to be over 10, even if Mike Braun does underperform Trump's margins. And then, of course, Missouri is a safe state, just because we all know this. Mike Kehoe's the nominee. He's more moderate than the other Republicans. Not that he needed to be, but he'll easily defeat Crystal Quay by more than 10 in a deep red state. North Dakota, as you can see here, in North Dakota, very interesting race. Kelly Armstrong, at least the primary was, because Kelly Armstrong dominated, but in the Democrats, you didn't have anybody, and so with such low turnout, you were seeing, well, this is not even a race to follow at all. And with polls, he's up 30, or this is less recent, so it doesn't matter anymore. But deep red state, he should have no problem defeating Miro Pipcorn. And then Montana's safe. Greg Gianforte, he won the primary by 50 points. He got a lot of turnout. It was almost 200,000 votes, while in the Democratic primary it was almost 100,000. But again, he's polling really well. Like, that's really good. He's over 20 in a deep red state, so I think he should have no problems. Utah, their governor, Spencer Cox, is seen as pretty moderate. Nothing needs to be, again, a deep red state, but he'll easily thwart his Democratic opponent's plans. All right. 3 states left. Let's go. Well, first of all, actually, there are 3 states left. So, first I want to touch base on North Carolina. And the reason I want to is because this state was upended, at least this race. Because Mark Robinson was never a good opponent. I never thought he was going to win. Never. I mean, he won by 3 in the 2020 lieutenant governor's race. That's fine. But he had remarks that we always knew were going to be controversial, and we don't have to get into them. But it was not portrayed well. But then on September 19th, CNN released a story detailing racist, transphobic, misogynistic, and other disturbing comments made by an account suspended to be Robinson on a porn site. He called himself reportedly a black Nazi and expressed reinstating slavery. He expressed support for that. And, Robinson dismissed the report as tabloid lies. And obviously, this is nonpartisan. I'm not going to say if this is true or not. But what I will say is it's definitely hurting him. Elections Daily, they moved it to safety, while the others is likely or very likely D. All these ratings. Polling, horrible. Emerson College, very credible pollster. He's down 16. He's down 13 in ActiVote, down 10 in Redfield and Wilton strategies, and down also with the likely voter sample, 12 in Quinnipiac University. So, as you can see, he's under 10. And that's why, through his damaged record, which maybe even dropped Trump down a little bit, um, it's even now, I'd say, a safe Democratic race, which is not something I ever thought I'd be saying, but he is that bad of a candidate. Um, and now I'll touch base on Washington. Washington's likely Democratic. Washington's very interesting because the race there, well, Democrats, if you add the Republican vote share and also the MAGA Republican, there was one on the ballot called MAGA Republican, versus the vote share of the Democrats, and you can even add a Green, the spread is about 12 points. The difference, the Democrats had a higher vote share than Republicans. And in a state that Biden won by 19, well, that's a little bit better for Republicans. And you can see the two candidates that qualified for the general, Bob Ferguson and Dave Reichert. Well, Reichert's running a good campaign. You know, he's been in Washington politics for a bit, as you can see here. Yeah, sheriff of King County for 8 years there, and also a member of the 8th District for 14 years. So they know him. Washington knows him. They probably like him. And latest poll out of RMG Research, I'd say a pretty credible pollster, has him down 8, and that's below 10. And I think Ferguson could do a little bit better than that, but I think it's a little bit more likely that Ferguson will win by less than 10 because the margin was 12, and Reichert seems to be a better candidate than Ferguson, like if they were in a really safe race, but where I think Reichert can get it under 10, just based off the margin in the primaries and based off the quality of polling we have, and based off fundraising, which is not a horrible deficit for Reichert. I think it should be enough to get it under 10, but Democrats should not actually ever be concerned about this race. All right. Last race, very tight race, New Hampshire. Kelly Ayotte versus Joyce Craig. And I'm going to tilt it to the Republicans. Super close race. That means we don't have any lead races. But I'm going to tilt it to the Republicans because this race is just absolutely so close. I want to touch base on this poll. A survey of likely voters. St. Anselm College, a very good pollster in the state of New Hampshire specifically. And they're credible. This is a recent poll. And they even had Harris up 7 in this poll, the margin that Biden won by. And so you can see, there's nothing insane in this poll. And as you can see here, Odie's up 3 against Joyce Craig. And look at the race. Because she did do well in the primary. I mean, we know that. She did well in the primary. And she beat her opponent, Chuck Morse, by handily, almost 30 points. The turnout for the Republicans, 140,000 votes. For the Democrats, it was less. It was 125,000. So they didn't have as much. It was a very close primary. And Joyce Craig is the nominee. And she is the mayor of Manchester. But obviously, Ayotte was a former senator. So they both have a history. But as we know, Chris Sununu, I think he endorsed the campaign. Yes, he did, of Kelly Ayotte. And that's not great news for any of the Democrats because Chris Sununu is well liked. He won by a ton in 2020 and 2022 and also elections before that. And while at the federal level, New Hampshire definitely leans blue, at the state level, where they're more fiscally conservative and where that's more of an issue because gubernatorial elections are super different from presidential and Senate elections, Ayotte has a serious shot. And in the polls, at least the most recent one, she's leading by 3. It's a quality poll. She's fundraising more. And New Hampshire has a very big history of electing Republican governors in the 21st century. So I would have to tilt it in her column. So anyways, Republicans win 8 seats. Democrats win 3. I guess that means there's not really any flips and then it'll stay the same. But as always, thank you everybody for watching this video. And be sure to check out more EPI videos for more important information. Please comment down below for other suggestions and like and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. EPI out.